Hi, this is John Barnes, and you're listening to Kop On.
Welcome to Kop On Podcast, you wonderfully ripe, juicy, succulent cherry. The cherries are red, and it's cherry season. Cherry season is here, at least in the northern hemisphere, in this beautiful, if troubled and ravaged and insane planet upon which we reside. And cherry season is one of my favorite seasons because I freaking love cherries. And it feels like the summer is red. The summer has gone red about 1 hour ago. As we're recording this, Florian Wirtz has been confirmed in a record 116 million British pound deal from Bayer Leverkusen. It's been talked about for a long time. I doubted whether he would be worth it in the last episode of Kop On, but here I am, absolutely thrilled. Boomps a daisy with this news. I couldn't be happier. I'm delighted to be joined by Shane and by Nigel, and hopefully Kev's going to join in soon. And Shane, this is a joy. This is joy. Is it? I mean, we're bringing in Kirkes. We'll talk about him later. Possibly Mark Gahey, Crystal Palace captain. Talk about him later. We've brought in Frimpong, Florian Wirtz's best buddy and a very exciting player. But now we've got the main man, Florian Wirtz. Is the summer just going to continue being red? Is this how every summer feels when you're backed by an oil state and you can spend 100 million on a player? How are you, basically?
I think it might feel something similar to that, but maybe more time on a yacht. I'm not getting that much time on a yacht, but I am loving the signings. Yeah, it's kind of a dream come true. I mean, I feel like we as Liverpool fans have been screaming for this for season after season, to have like a big sort of surge, sort of statement type of transfer window in the market. And I mean, by golly, are we doing it? You were talking about cherries. I know we're going to talk about plenty of Florian Wirtz, but speaking of cherries, Kirkes from Bournemouth, I'm very excited for that. So also Mark Gahey, lots of Crystal Palace love for this past season. So yeah, I'm very optimistic, and I hope this season keeps on rolling.
Let's stick with Florian for now, though, Shane. I mean, have you been watching all the YouTube video compilations on him? What do you think of his? Presumably you've watched more of him in the past sort of couple of weeks than you had in the previous, however long you've been alive.
Right. I did follow whenever they went on their unbeaten run. They kind of became my chosen Bundesliga team. So, but I was only really watching like extended highlights, like 10, 20-minute versions, cuttings of the matches. But he's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, for someone in terms of Europe's top, you've seen all the stats in terms of Europe's top 5 assists leader, it's Mohamed Salah, then Florian Wirtz. It's just absolutely incredible what he's doing and accomplishing at only 22. And then you look at his touches and everything else and his heat maps. And yeah, you're right. I have been watching every single tactical analysis video I can on YouTube. But I mean, there's just so much to dissect, and it just looks like it makes our team that much more robust and exciting and entertaining, and gives us a versatility for the low block and even the high line defenses.
And where do you think he's going to fit in? I mean, because there's talk of a false 9. Is he going to play in a classic number 10 position? We can talk a bit later about the possibility of a 3-4-1-2, where he's playing behind Mo Salah and Alexander Isak, potentially, which would be just frightening for any opposition fan. But just on Florian, where is he going to fit in for you? Just give him like a free roll? What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, from what I'm able to see is that it seems like he's best as a number 10 on the left side, just in between, the left winger and then a striker position, and that way he can cut in more towards the center. I could definitely see that, but then also I did see a breakdown on, I think it was the ACFC channel, about him potentially playing a false nine and then allowing Salah and Gakpo to come in, and then he drops back to do more of a false nine situation. But that would leave more ground for him to cover. Now, defensively, what I am really excited about is his number of turnovers. He is responsible for a high number of turnovers despite his lack of size, because if you were to bring up any of his cons, he can get muscled off the ball. But as we've seen with even Mo Salah and then some of the other players, a few years at Liverpool with their training and the diet and the nutrition, they tend to build muscle, and it's in lean muscle mass that seems to give them strength no matter their height on the ball.
He's very interesting stuff. And he's talked actually in his first interview about wanting to improve physically as well. He says, it was a big point for me that I will improve my own personal level and physical levels, because I think everyone knows that in Liverpool, the players are machines, really strong and really physical. So this is something where he thinks he can get to the next level by, allied with that natural strength, actually bulking up. And, he's obviously not afraid of a challenge, by coming to the Premier League in terms of the amount of brilliant teams there are, but also in the physical nature of the Premier League, which is marvellous to know that he's got this mentality. Nigel, you found a bit of peace and quiet, and you've got some time to talk now about how you feel about this new British record signing, isn't it? Wow.
Well, I don't think it'll be a British record signing until after, unless we pay all the add-ons, which I'm hoping we do. It's 100 million plus 16 million in add-ons, which will beat the previous record by 1 million. So hopefully we'll be paying that extra 16 million. I said it earlier on to a couple of people. He reminds me of Peter Beardsley. I'm not sure either of you are old enough to remember Peter Beardsley, but I am.
I remember. Yeah, absolutely. What a player.
He was a super player. Where I see Florian Wirtz, what Shane said was right. But where I see him drifting across as a number 10 playmaker, drifted across the line, maybe sticking a little bit more to the left, but linking up like Barnes and Beardsley and Ray Houghton and John Aldridge did back in the day. And they linked, and teams just couldn't handle that. When the four of them got together in 1987, allied with the rest of the very, very good team that was already there, we cruised to the title that year. We absolutely cruised. John Barnes was Footballer of the Year, and then he scored, I think John Barnes scored something like 28 league goals, and Peter Beardsley got 15 or something like that, and John Aldridge got 30. It was just, I can see that again, because what we discussed earlier on, what sort of formation are we going to play? Are we going to play wing backs? Are we going to play flat back four? Like one tweak of that, and we're in a flat back four, and one little move, and suddenly we've gone three at the back, and there's an extra man gone forward, and the other teams might not be able to see it. I think we're going to be a lot more fluid in our formations this year. I think that could happen a lot.
Presumably, we're bringing in Kirkes, and we've brought in Frimpong to play very, very high and wide to stretch opposition defences, and that would leave more space in the middle, obviously. And then if you've got Florian Wirtz, I mean, how the hell are you going to stop Wirtz and Mo Salah and a number 9? I've got no idea. But
Reed, Beardsley, Barnes, Houghton, Aldrich.
Well, precisely. But I mean, but there's a little bit of him that reminds me, as I've mentioned before. I'm not sure if it's on Kop On or just in our Kop On group, but there's a little bit of Florian Wirtz in the way that he dribbles, that if you slow it down, you can see that he sees things just quicker than everybody else. And this is something that Messi had, and that Mo Salah has. And all the great dribblers but the true greats like Maradona, these kind of true greats, John Barnes as well. You slow down their dribbling, the defender is sort of thinking about sticking a leg out, and then they stick a leg out, and by that time, these players have already taken 2 touches, and they've gone around the said leg. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. On that, I'll give you an example of that. If you look at John Barnes scored a goal against Queen's Park Rangers, I think we beat them 4-1. I think it was the first goal of the game. You'll know the one I'm talking about, when he dispossessed Kevin Brock, and he looks like he's He's gliding. Looks like he's barely moving, but he's actually going at great pace, and they just can't deal with him. If anybody hasn't seen that goal, Liverpool 4, Crystal Palace 1, and John Barnes was just out of this world the first couple of seasons with Liverpool.
Yeah, I agree, and I think I agree with Nigel. I have seen different graphs where they show that he could go from left to right all the way across that front line. But then not only that, too, as a testament to the dribbling that you brought up, Owen, it's the fact that he's so ambidextrous. Like he can use both of his feet, and that is also another hallmark for of the greats.
It's a great point. Absolutely. Yeah, ambidextrous. Is that the word? Ambifootrous? I don't know. Is it the same word for that? I'll have to look that up.
My B might have sounded like a P. Ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous is for the hands, isn't it?
I don't know. Is it? So two-footedness. You knew what I meant in spirit. I
totally did. I'm just a pedant and I'm an English teacher. No, you're absolutely right. Ambidextrous can also refer to the feet. There you go. Excuse me. So there you go. 1 point to Shane. 0 for the English teacher host. So yes, very good, very good. Well done. But yeah, a couple of facts that from this is Anfield.com. Just that, well, basically for Germany, he's played 31 times, 7 goals and 7 assists. And this Germany team is not very good, unfortunately for them. So that's a very good record, 14 goal involvements and 31 appearances for someone so young. For Bayer Leverkusen, 197 appearances, 57 goals and 65 assists. That truly is remarkable. 122 goal involvements in 197 games. As a 22-year-old, that is, I don't know if it's beyond nuts. I don't know what it is. It's a peanut and chocolate energy bar. It's extraordinary. He won the Bundesliga, the unbeaten Bundesliga. It's pretty good to be an invincible, to be the key part of an invincibles team by age 22. And that season, of course, they won the German Cup as well. So yeah, there are a few facts there, but it's just so freaking exciting. That's what I would love to see, because by attacking in this way, if we've got the 2 fullbacks really high up, we've got, Mo Salah, potentially Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz. We've got runners from deep like McAllister, Soboslai, potentially Gravenberch or someone else joining in, who knows. Then that's all wonderful. I'm just picturing those players sort of camped in the opposition defensive third and our attacking third of the pitch. If we were to lose the ball, there may well be spaces behind us. We shall see. That's for the coach to figure out. And one way to stop that would be to go to a back 3. And this is something that I wonder if you considered, Nigel, this back 3 idea, because they're such wing backs naturally, Kerkez and Frimpong. If we were to get Gahey, who would love first team football, because there's a big tournament coming up next summer. I don't know. We haven't done it. Jurgen was definitely never going to do it in a month of Sundays. But is it something that you would like to see, Nigel? Maybe to mix it up?
Yeah, well, what I said earlier on about us being fluid. One positional switch or 2 positional switches turns us into a 3-5, like a 3-5-2 instead of a 4-4-2. You know what I mean?
But that would be bringing Gravenberch back, for example, if Gravenberch dropped back into a back 3. But
well, not necessarily. If we play the 3 centre backs as it is. Start off like with a 3-5-2. Start off with 3 centre backs if we get Gahey, and play Virgil in the centre, Ibu on the right, and Gahey on the left, and play the 2 centre back the 2.
Oh, and then yeah, it's a good idea.
1 second, Don. I've got to take a phone call here.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, someone's calling. That's okay. I think Nigel's pizza's arrived. No problem. Okay. But yeah, Shane, what what do you think about that? 3 central defenders. If you're starting with, Ibu or Virgil, Virgil could step into midfield maybe.
Yes, I would say it all kind of depends on the support in front of those three. So if WIRTZ is going to be in this more free role in the 10, like across the front line or more left-sided, I would then want McAllister to drop back a little bit, because we see Gravenberch over this past season dropping back to provide support to Andy Robertson, to anyone else, to Ibu, to Virgil, and I would love for there not to all rely on Gravenberch to be that out ball for our defenders. So I think if McAllister were to come back, I don't know about Slobosai. Slobosai seems to be better going forward, but I don't know what formation are you thinking? Like for the midfield, who are you thinking about? Are you thinking it's going to be McAllister, Gravenberch, Slobosai, WIRTZ?
No, I was thinking of a 3-4-1-2. You see, so you got let's say we get Gahey over the line. We've got Gahey. He's a left-sided, left-footed defender. Gahey on the left, Virgil in the middle, and Ibu on the right. And 4 in front of them would be the 2 wing backs, Frimpong and Kirkes. And then in the middle, you would have McAllister and one of Gravenberch or Soboslai. And then in front of them, you would have WIRTZ playing in a free role, who could really wander wherever he wanted to, pick up the ball and make things happen. And in front of him, you would have 2 attackers, Salah plus a number 9 that we sign, or Diaz, for example, or Gakpo could play there. So yes, or possibly Isak. But then I was thinking that I would rather, I think, play a 2-4-1-3, which sounds bananas, but the wing backs can occasionally come back and defend. But the goal is to win every game 6-3, because you're substituting Mark Gahey in that system for Cody Gakpo, because then you've got basically Virgil and Ibu as the only defenders in your team. And you've got Frimpong, let's say Soboslai, McAllister, Kirkes, and in front of him you will have WIRTZ, Gakpo, Isak, hopefully, and Salah. I don't think it's been done maybe for 100 years, when people used to, win games 7-4 and these kind of scorelines back when you had the position was fixed on the football team before the evolution of tactics. Well, I'm really excited by the prospect. I mean, is that just batshit though? I don't know.
No,
have I been influenced by Ange?
No, it's just affirmation for me, because I'm the one who's here thinking, like, am I batshit for thinking that we could win every game with at least 4 goals? Like, I really, so it makes me excited to know that you're also thinking the same way, because I definitely consider you to be far more grounded out of the 2 of us when it comes to expectations. There's Nigel.
Yes, he's back. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. So yeah, Florian WIRTZ. I mean, it's just so exciting, isn't it? I mean, that's presumably you're going to give him a 10 out of 10 signing. I mean, how long are you hoping that he stays, Nigel? Sort of 5 years, 10 years for the whole of his career?
5-year deal anyway. We'll see how it's going, and then hopefully he might stay if we're at the top of our game. But we're going to have to stay at the top of our game to hang on to him, basically, because we're going to need to win a few things. So it's a good sign. We're top. What we're doing is very important at the moment, because it's a hallmark of Liverpool's great teams. When you're at the top, strengthen, and it's exactly what we're doing. Bob Paisley always believed in that, and a player or 2 every year, and maybe taking out an old one. And Kenny did it when we won the double in 1986. No, sorry, I'll go back again. 1984, when we lost Graham Souness, his last game for Liverpool is the European Cup final against Roma in Rome. And then he left after that. And for the next season, we didn't win anything because we lost. We missed him in the middle of the field. And then we went out and bought Steve McMahon. And after that, then, when we won the double, Kenny went out and bought Aldridge, Barnes, Beardsley, Houghton, those guys. He always built from a position of strength. So that's what we're doing at the moment. It's exactly what we're doing. It's great.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Stephen Gerrard called it fixing the roof while the sun's out, while the sun is shining, and I totally agree with that. One thing I'm not quite sure about what Nigel was saying in that, what you're saying, Nigel, is that we're just going to buy one or two players. There is a possibility that we get in two fullbacks, WIRTZ, a number 9, a centre back, and a central midfielder. That's 6 people. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Paisley used to always say, buy 1 or 2 players a year, just to kind of improve the squad. That's what he used to say. So it's just we're doing. This is the difference. This was Bob Paisley's teams, but this is what last year was Jurgen Klopp's team pretty much when Slot came into a very, very good side. But now this is Arne Slot's team now coming up.
I mean, it's very exciting, isn't it? I mean, I can't wait to see what the kind of business we're doing. So, Shane, we're going to move on. Talk about defense. Mark Gahey, basically the idea, what's the word? The cheekiness, if you will, of selling Kwanzaa for about 40 million to Bayer Leverkusen, bringing in Crystal Palace's captain for the same price. Basically, you're getting a full England international and a very established Premier League player for a young kid who might become extraordinary, but he's not there yet. You've got this massive upgrade for free. This is more like the Liverpool we've been accustomed to, isn't it, Shane? Parsimonious.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. It's nice to see us strengthening in those positions because aside from Ibu and Virgil van Dijk, we did notice a drop-off in the center-back position this past season. And you were always just terrified of something happening to Virgil or Kanate at any point in the season. I almost felt more reassurance whenever Alisson Becker had his stint out because I knew Quaveen Kelleher was coming in. And so, it's nice to see this. Can you answer me this? Does he count? Does Mark Gahey, will he count for the homegrown player quota?
Absolutely, yeah. He's as English as fish and chips.
Well, then fantastic. Yeah, because needing that, but also making sure it's not just a player that you just have and making sure it's a player that it's actually improving the squad while doing that as well. It seems so smart that you're like, oh, of course we should be doing moves like this all the time.
I believe he has 1 year left on his deal, which is why we're able to get him so relatively cheaply because, according to Transfer Market, his contract expires June the 30th, 2026, so next year. Yes, Shane, you want to come back in there?
And just going back to Jarell Kwanzaa, wishing him all the best, but going from the first match against Ipswich to now, you kind of just saw it coming, after he gets hooked after the first half. And then the way that Slot utilized him rarely throughout the season. And at times when he did and the choices, you just knew that this was going to be inevitable.
Well, yes, absolutely. Arne, he takes no prisoners, does he? He's just, you're out of the team sometimes without, after playing well, he just sticks with, the players that he likes, which makes me think that if we are to get Mark Gahey, the rumours from Sky Sports via our friend Matt were that he's sort of insisting upon playing time. And Nigel, I wonder if he'd watched any of Liverpool last season, because if there's one thing that Arne Slot didn't do is rotate the defence unless absolutely necessary.
Yeah. Well, I said on our group earlier on, I'm wondering if that has already been discussed. If talks are apparently a little advanced on Gahey, has he already talked to Arne Slot about that situation? It's important. Like, has there been dialogue between Gahey himself or Gahey's people with the Liverpool people saying, he wants to be guaranteed a place. He's got a World Cup coming up. So has there been dialogue and said, look, he'll play because we might be switching to 3 at the back, or we will be switching to 3 at the back, and he'll be guaranteed a start or something like that. Or we're not sure about Kanate at the moment, and you'll be guaranteed a start once you sign. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's a possibility.
Have
But I
you
reckon
seen? Have you seen? Go on.
I'm just wondering, has there already been dialogue? Because I think there has to be. If they're supposedly a little advanced on the deal, there has to have been dialogue for me. Now I'm going to have to go in a minute. I'll try and keep it on in the car and keep talking, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah, no worries. No, I mean, you concentrate on the road, but yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us, Nigel. It's absolutely wonderful to have to hear your views as always. And yeah, but I don't know. Have you seen enough Crystal Palace this season, Shane, to have much of an opinion of Gahey, the player?
Yes. I've been watching a lot of their highlights. They've been one of my teams to watch. I haven't seen. If I've seen Gahey highlights, they've only been like last minute clearances or anything like that. Really, I've been watching more Eze highlights because I just really enjoy him as an attacking player. But through the transfer links and news, I'm now watching some more compilations. But yeah, I mean, I would be remiss to say that I am an expert on Crystal Palace's defense.
Well, no worries, no worries. Yeah, no, neither am I. I mean, he has impressed me with his all-round game when I've seen him play, but I can't. Yeah, I can't say that I'm any kind of an expert on Crystal Palace. I also have to get our friend Lucy back onto Kop On so she can tell us all about him. I mean, I know she absolutely adores him. She's a friend of mine who's a massive Crystal Palace fan from that region of England, and yeah, I mean, he's the captain. They absolutely adore him. Just a quick googling of him. His full name is actually Adji Hianinkin Mark Israel Gahey, which is absolutely fantastic name. And speaking of names, have you seen the new Alison Becker thing, Shane? It dropped, as they say, on LFC TV. Have you seen it yet?
Oh, the My Story documentary?
Yeah.
I have not watched it yet, but I definitely have a bookmark to check it out. Tell me what you've seen.
Well, it's just, the two absolutely fantastic quotes from episode 1, and I can't wait to see the rest. It's brilliant. You should definitely watch it. Everybody listening to this, and Shane as well, and Nigel, you should definitely watch it. It's so good. But two things jumped out at me. First was I'll do it in reverse order. The second best for me comment of the entire episode was from Dunga, the legendary Brazilian captain who lifted the World Cup, wonderful defensive midfielder, and he ended up actually managing Alison Becker as a manager back in 2012, 13, 14, around about then, when he was just starting out at a club called Internacional in Brazil. And Dunga says in this show that with some goalkeepers, they sort of get smaller when they stand in the goal. But some goalkeepers, they seem bigger than they are when they just stand in the goal. And Alison Beck is one of those. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And also, Nigel, you just unmuted yourself. You want to come in with some words about Alison?
By mistake. I'm just in the car now. I didn't mean to do that.
Okay.
What was the question again? Sorry.
No, there was no question. I'm just talking about the Alison Becker documentary, the second best quote from Dunga. But the best quote from that episode was actually Alison's mum talking about names. I got here because of what do you call it? Because Mark Gahey is actually called Adji Kianinkin Mark Israel Gahey, which is an absolutely fabulous name. And so Alison's mum was talking about his name when they decided on a name, because she wanted Ramesses, or Hamses, as they pronounce it in Brazil, but Ramesses for a child. And then she discussed it with the family, and she thought, oh no, it's a bit crazy to call your kid Ramesses. So then we spoke to his grandmother, and she said Alison, and so we decided, yes, Alison. And Shane, I think that's absolutely wonderful to go from a Ramesses, deciding that's a bit odd for a baby, and settling on Alison for a boy.
I absolutely love it. I would gladly switch my name if it wasn't so much legal paperwork to Allison Ramesses Becker. So yeah, no, I think it's great, and I appreciate the recommendation because I did love the Bobby Firmino one because I know they did a similar one whenever Bobby left, and it was like a 3-parter My Story thing, and I just absolutely love those clips of him just singing his own song at his piano in his house, and so. Yeah, no, I'm all for more Allison Becker in our lives.
You're damn right. But anyway, back to the transfers, back to the rebuild, back to Liverpool Football Club cruising into 25-26. We had the Premier League fixtures released. We're starting at home to Bournemouth, Friday the 15th of August, 8 p.m. WIRTZ is over the line. Kirkes coming in. Frimpong's over the line already. I can't wait, let alone what whoever else we add this summer. Bring it on. But after Bournemouth in August, we've got Newcastle United away as the second game of the season and Arsenal at home as the third game of the season. There could be a lot easier starts than that, right? I don't know. Again, Nigel, you've unmuted yourself.
It could be easier, yeah. Well, it could be a lot easier. But remember, we've got the Charity Shield as well on the 10th. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah, with the Charity Shield on the 10th, so that's going to be a good warm up.
So yeah, no, I think. The way we are, who's going to want to play us at the moment? You know what I mean? Arsenal in the second game at Anfield. They're not going to look forward to that. You know,
Absolutely.
He can spin all the excuses he wants, Arteta. There's one reason that Arsenal haven't won a trophy, have won one trophy under his tutelage, and that's him. Nothing to do with the players. Well, there is to do with the players. He's got in their minds and turned them into, I don't know. I reckon Saka's a good player, but I reckon he'd be twice as good if he hadn't got him managing him.
It's a very good point. Yeah, Arteta doesn't seem to have improved many players, well, other than, the things that you can't really give too much credit to coaches. You just need to be a half decent coach, for example, to improve, someone with the talent of Kylian Mbappe, for example, or Lionel Messi or whatever, just give them the ball, let them play and say, well, sometimes you can run there. I don't know. It just seems quite easy.
Just as well as that, though, he seems to ruin attitudes, if you get what I'm saying.
That was where I was going, because he inherited Arteta inherited some great youngsters, and they brought some in, so Martinelli and Saka and who else? There were like 3 or 4 of them who were really, really talented. Odegaard as well, youngsters, and you would think, well, if they stayed together and did the usual improvement, then they would be absolutely a force to be reckoned with. But they haven't really hit the heights, and they play this sort of negative, Pulis-esque football that doesn't win the hearts and minds of the players themselves, it seems, let alone the fans and the outside world.
I don't know what it is. I'm loath to say biased, but have you seen the nominations for the Players of the Year? Like, how is Ryan Gravenberch not in that? And
I saw that McAllister and Mo Salah were the only Liverpool players. Is that right?
Fair enough. Fernandes and Rice. I'm sorry, no. Neither of them went anywhere better than Ryan Gravenberch this year. And then the young players of the year, you've got that Lewis Skelly, who's speaking of bad attitudes, has got a really bad attitude. He's going around kicking people and then whipping about it and getting let off for a red card, 100% red card, and then got sent off again a couple of weeks later and just seems to have a really poor attitude.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that one.
Players get away with it a lot in England, you know what I mean? It's just the fact that some of these guys are being nominated for Player of the Year. Fernandes, you must be joking. All he did, and he just gave the ball away. Why not nominate Onana at that stage?
I mean, the rumours are that he's going to stay, which is very exciting. Onana's going to stay, which is absolutely marvellous news. But yeah, I mean, veering away from that for a moment, though, the things that jump out in the fixture list are obviously where we start. So Bournemouth, Newcastle, Arsenal as the first 3 games. Then there's an international break. They've got like 2 or 3 international breaks at the beginning of the season, as ever, which is very annoying. But yeah, after that, we've got Burnley, Everton, and Crystal Palace. And then in October, we've got Chelsea away, Man United at home, and Brentford away. October seems particularly tasty to me. And then November, you've got Villa at home, City away, Forest at home, and West Ham away. But then December, it seems like Mo Salah for the AFCON. I'm just going to hit the mute there on Nigel's mic because it's because we can hear the car. Just a moment, sorry, Nigel. But the in December, Mo Salah's going to miss with the AFCON, I believe, Tottenham, Wolverhampton, and Leeds, and Fulham. And depending on how Egypt do, he might then miss Arsenal and Burnley. Who knows? But at least Tottenham, Wolves, and Leeds. So I think those are the games. I will check the dates. But the AFCON, with the signing of WIRTZ, we're not going to be as reliant on Mo for goals and assists. You would think, Shane. This season we can afford to let him have a few weeks and support Egypt and hope that they win the AFCON. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I think also it'll lighten the load and the expectation on Mohamed Salah. I think as we enter in the twilight years of Mohamed Salah's playing career with Liverpool, I think it's best to utilize him more in a more precise sort of fashion and let WIRTZ do more of the workhorse load of running. And so, yeah, I think also just with the things that WIRTZ brings innately to the team, it'll actually free Mo up even more. And so I think there might be even less wear and tear on Mohamed Salah as the season goes on, to where maybe even next season, maybe even this coming season, we won't see such a sharp drop off as we saw this past season. I think it was the final 10 games or a little bit before then. We definitely saw a sharper drop off, but some might blame the contract extension on that, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it was a mixture of different things. I think how far ahead we were in the league, how everything was going so well, and plus there would be fatigue, and he played a lot of games, but tactical things that he mentioned himself. So yeah, the dates for the African Cup of Nations, it is December the 21st to January the 18th. Excuse me. So the 21st of December to the 18th of January. So those games that even if Egypt win it, Mo Salah will miss Tottenham, Wolves, Leeds United, Fulham, Arsenal, and Burnley. That's Tottenham, Wolves, Leeds, Fulham, Arsenal, and Burnley. I feel confident that we can negotiate those without him. Other things, yeah. So Manchester United games. They're the first ones I look for. Is Saturday, the 18th of October, as I said. As it is now, it'll be moved to a Sunday, presumably. But that's the weekend of the 18th of October. Man United, we're playing them at Anfield first, and Man United away in May, on Saturday, the 2nd of May, as it stands, but that'll probably be moved, at Old Trafford. And there's something that occurred to me, Shane, is that's 4 games before the end of the season. I don't know if you're thinking what I'm thinking, Shane, but there's a possibility we could win the league at Old Trafford. I'm getting way excited about this season, aren't I? I don't know. Calm me down.
No, I won't be able to calm you down. In fact, I'd probably say there's even a possibility that they might give us the Guard of Honor on the 2nd of May. So that's, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how the points are. I'd like to see how Manchester City does, but I have no doubts about the 2nd of May. That's 11 months from now almost. So it is quite exciting. One thing I did want to bring up, since we're talking about fixtures, no Boxing Day matches.
Oh, really? I hadn't clocked that. Okay, they've stopped.
It was
them.
something
Okay,
I
yeah.
saw that I think there might be no Boxing Day matches for anybody. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, it
Seems
could be.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. No matches on the 26th of December.
Okay, because Saturday falls on the 27th of December, so they're going to have an extra day off. I think that's a good thing. Give the players a bit more time with their families. I think that's definitely a good thing. Let's talk about, unless there's anything else you want to talk about with fixtures, let's talk about the possibility of Isak. We just smashed a British record. Well, smashed is a bit of an exaggeration. We've potentially broken the British record, Nigel, for Florian Wirtz, and Alexander Isak has been strongly linked. In what world is this going to actually happen, Nigel? Is this pie in the sky?
Well, apparently not. If you look at YouTube and see the amount of opposition supporters whinging about, oh, Liverpool are doing this and Liverpool are doing that, and now they're looking for Isak. If we get Isak, the internet's going to blow up. There'll be nobody watching any games because it'll be a foregone conclusion. If we get Isak and if our new signings, if we can get Isak or even get Ekiteke or whoever, we're going to have to sign somebody, I think. If
Oh, Nigel, he's disappeared down into a tunnel. I have to just mute Nigel for a moment because he appears to have disappeared into a tunnel, into a mountain. Driving through those famous mountains in Southern Ireland. I hope he comes back soon. Just let me know if you can hear me again, Nigel. If he's back, I don't know.
Nunes.
Oh, I heard Nunes, and that's all I heard. There you go. But never mind. What we'll say, because we won't be able to hear Nigel. I think he's gone. I think he's gone. Yes, his phone signal is somewhere. Maybe it was so interesting what he was saying that the aliens have intercepted that radio transmission, and then now
I was about to say he might have been abducted. They might have actually, with the tractor beam, taken him up. So it's very plausible and likely.
I mean, they just want to hear his opinions on Nunes. As do I, but it's unfortunate. Sorry for Nigel. We had to continue, and listener, we had to continue without Nigel. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's I don't even know what we were talking about. Oh yeah, Alexander Isak. Do you think it's realistic, Shane? Do you think it's realistic?
I mean, so after the signing of WIRTZ, I would say now that we've spent that kind of money, that it seems like that doesn't seem outside the realm of possibility. But to do it twice in the same transfer window, whenever Isak does have some time remaining on his contract, I don't know. I mean, possibly it's more plausible than what I thought it was a week ago, but I don't know if it'll be this window. But I would like, and I'd pray, and I'd hope that it would be this window.
And did you see a lot of Newcastle last year?
I mean, I saw his highlights, but then I also saw plenty of headlines about whenever he was injured and his injury record. And so I was wondering if you had any thoughts. Nigel's back.
Yeah, Nigel's back. I
was wondering if you had any thoughts about who is specifically on our physio team? Have we been I've seen his name a bunch about people have been giving him credit for our injury record, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Ruben Peters, his name is.
Yes.
Yes, 32 years old, Ruben Peters. But sorry, Nigel, we lost you there with your answer. I just want reassurances because I don't think Alexander Isak is realistic. I don't know. What do you reckon, Nigel? You think it is?
Well, this talk doesn't seem to be going away. I haven't seen mass denials. So where there's life, there's hope.
Well, given his injury record that Shane mentioned just before, let me just sorry, I have to put you on mute now to stop the road noises. But the about his injury record, he actually played 34 matches. He only missed 4 Premier League matches last season. He got 23 goals and 6 assists, which is extraordinary. But in 2023-24, so the season before the one just finished, he played 30 out of 38 matches. So out of a potential 68 matches, he's only missed 12, which isn't extraordinary. As for the nature of his injuries, I'm going to look it up on Transfer Market, but I think there are rumours that he has a groin issue, that he has these muscle problems, which are very worrying if true. But then there are other rumours to say that what he had was quite similar to players like Henderson and Steven Gerrard when they were younger, and they were sort of, ankle problems and other little problems that, were fairly easily fixed. But yeah, here it is. Yeah. Transfer Market have his injuries last season as a broken toe, the main one, where he missed 34 days, and then a hamstring niggle that led to him spending 4 days out, and then a groin injury from February the 25th to March the 1st, which is only 5 days. So he missed 4 days with a hamstring niggle, 5 days with a groin niggle, and 34 days out with a broken toe. So broken toes are nothing to worry about. But then if you go back to the season before last, there were 2 groin injuries, 2 separate ones that kept him out for 56 days. So yeah, there might be an issue with the groin, looking at Transfer Market, looking at the history. And if so, Shane, should we pull out of any potential deal? Because we don't want to spend 130 million and then he's just, another Naby Keita, as much as I love Naby.
Right. No, especially even because I think in us as Liverpool fans, we're a little leery of Diogo Jota's injury record at the current moment. And it depends on who we sell. I mean, if Darwin Núñez go on and Jota move on, if those 2 players, I think, or even Luis Diaz, I don't know. I think we might have to pull the trigger on some deal this window. But if we're retaining those attackers, I can't really see it happening, even though I would like to. But yeah, it is something. I don't know if it's a deal breaker, to answer your question.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Nigel? How would you feel about it if there's any doubt whatsoever? Steer clear, or is it worth the risk?
Well, that'd be kind of up to the physio department, and if we really want them, you've got to take the plunge, push the button, whatever. He's 26, and he's probably, if we're looking at centre forwards, he's probably the top guy who might be available at the moment. It's a bit like WIRTZ. He was the top number 10 that was available at the time in the world. There's no denying that. So we're not exactly looking at bad players at the moment. He's an amazing player. I think he played 34 games this season, as you said. So you'd be kind of hoping to give him the benefit of the doubt. The biggest injury he had was a broken toe. So I'd be hoping if we were to push the button on it, our injury record is good. Slot's injury record with players is good for keeping them fit. So I'd be hopeful.
Yeah, and that's all we can be, right? Just hopeful. Yeah, staying hopeful. Okay. The last thing to talk about is a Liverpool legend. Let's call him what he is. Joe Gomez. Past 10 years as a Liverpool player. 2015, he joined us as a fresh-faced 18-year-old, wasn't he? coming out of London, and he's just been obviously blighted by injuries that have robbed him of what could have been like an all-time great defensive career, if you think about how brilliant he was when he broke through. And we signed him from Charlton, 3 million, 3.5 million, something like that. A marvel of scouting, because he's been brilliant. But it's his attitude and the way that he's been, you know. I remember watching an interview with him about this time last year when he was talking about how many self-improvement podcasts and books that he reads, and he's just like, he's on this sort of journey to try and become a better person, a good person, try and become a good friend, a good teammate. And he's just someone that you would trust with your life, wouldn't you, Shane? He's just someone who's just seems like such a great guy that, you know, he should be proud. Whatever happens, if he does leave this summer, he should be very, very proud of these 10 years he's spent at Liverpool, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's been through a few different regimes managerially, and he's always been retained as a squad player. He's a leader in the dressing room, and yeah, he should be very proud of his 10 years. We're all very proud of his 10 years. I mean, those 10 years have trophies, lots and lots of trophies. And so, yeah, he's always managed to, in some ways, when you're talking about the idea of the self-help, he's always been able to reinvent himself in terms of retooling how he can be used for the squad. We've seen him deployed in the right back position before. We've seen him deployed in the left back position, center back. We've seen him in different scenarios and situations. And so he's always kind of been there for us, and we should definitely show him our love and appreciation and adoration for what he's accomplished. But I do think there is a little foreshadowing with a notification like that he might be on his way out. If they start summarizing all your statistics and they start giving you the glory lap, it might be the final lap.
Yeah, interestingly, on Instagram, he wrote about the 10 years, and at the end of his post, he said, "A decade in red and still hungry to keep going." So presumably, if he does leave, it'll be because Slot has told him that he doesn't have a future at Liverpool, which may well happen. But what's your opinion, Nigel? Should we keep Joe as a very useful member off the pitch and on the pitch occasionally when he gets to play?
Love Joe Gomez. It's just such a pity he missed too many games. The season, 1920, when we first won the Premier League, he was outstanding. He got taken out against Burnley. The guy, he broke bones in his leg with a horrible tackle. And he missed a few games. I think he's only played like 265 games or something like that over 10 years, which is really, really a short amount, you'd think. I think he's a fantastic player, done really well for us. But you kind of get a feeling that if Arne could get a replacement and get a bit of money for Joe, he would, I think.
So, I mean, you'd be happy to let Joe go and we'll never get to see him score a goal. I mean, imagine.
Yeah. No, I'd like him to stay. I would like him to stay. I think he's been, like Shane said, he's been a leader in the dressing room. He's apparently very good friends with Virgil van Dijk. Very close, those two, apparently. I'd love to see him staying, but how limited are his games going to be again? He didn't play too much last season, and any time he came on, he did well. He actually could have scored a couple of goals in one of the games that he came on. He had 2 headers, and should have definitely scored at one of them. So yeah, I hope he stays. I like Joe Gomez a lot. No fuss, quiet guy, gets on with it, and if he does go, I wish him nothing but the best, and he's been brilliant for us.
Absolutely. And on that note, let's let's end it there. We haven't had a chance really to discuss Kirkes, but that might be for another day. It looks like he's signing in the next few days. But we talked briefly about tactics. We've talked about the new system. We've talked about Gahey. We've talked about the potential of Isak and the very real record signing of Florian Wirtz coming to Liverpool. This feels massive. It feels like the cherry at the beginning of the cake. It's actually, we're going to have a cherry covered cake this summer. And I hope that whoever you are, wherever you are, you can just have a great day or night or evening or early morning, wherever you are, whoever you are. Thank you for listening to Kop On Podcast, and you'll never walk alone. Thank you to Shane. Thank you to Nigel. And we'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.